Hey guys, it's week 219, and this week we are talking about being outed as a witch and what you do about it, or being outed as a pagan. So, without going into a grand lot of detail, when I first started being interested in paganism, and witchcraft, and general folk magic, I had a extremely supportive friend and her mother who would give me books and things like that for me to read, and I always kept them in my book bag, and I never opened my book bag around my mother. Those of you who have been with us a little bit kind of know a little bit about that whole story. So one night it was raining, much like it is today, and I was on the phone with a friend of mine who also was exploring the path. And we were talking about the different energies that happen and how that interacts with magic, and it was whatever. So my mom had left to go do goodness knows what, I don't remember. And in the middle of my phone conversation, I was in the bathroom talking to my friend, and my mom burst in the door and like freaks out. And I think she was supposed to be going getting my dad. My dad worked about an hour outside the city that we lived in, and my mom loads me in the car and just like lectures me the whole way. And so of course she didn't want to say anything in front of my dad's coworkers, but as soon as my dad got in the car, she like launched into this whole thing, and my dad turns around. This is not the reaction that I think my mom had expected from my dad, but my dad kind of shrugs his shoulder and says, well, that's between you and God, whatever works for you, I guess. And so my mom just kind of sat in silence for the whole hour ride home. But when I got home, my dad went inside, and my mom hands me these black trash bags and tells me that all the books that I have, all the things that I've collected, anything that could possibly be occult, she didn't want in her house, and wants me to go get all this stuff and put it in the trash bags outside. Now it's still pouring down rain, so I of course don't want to anger her any further than she's already. So I go ahead and do that and pray, and I put things high enough that even if our yard would have flooded, I was hoping that it wouldn't, damage the things inside. In fact, I don't know where it is, but I still have one of those books that was in that original trash bag. So yeah. Now it never expanded further than that. It was never a conversation that my mom had with other relatives in our expanded family or anything like that. And in fact, it's not a conversation that my mom and I have currently about my spirituality or anything like that. We don't talk about it. It's not brought up. So I had to be very careful about hiding my interest in the craft after that. I was constantly trying to figure out how to hide things, how to make things seem more Christian appropriate, how to incorporate what was acceptable to my mother with the path that I was learning. So a lot of that is why my practice seems like a conglomeration of several things, even though it's really not, is because I spent 10 years, give or take, hiding my practice. So I've become an expert practice hider. Now, obviously, in my house now that I share with my husband, it's pretty apparent in my back, in my little office space or whatever. But growing up and even through college, when I was living with my family, I was very careful to conceal any type of my path because it was safer for me that way. So that's kind of how that happened. And I mean, it's not really a secret now, I don't hide it from anybody, but I'm also not running around with a giant tattoo that says I'm a pagan or anything like that. I think if you know what you're looking for, you know what I am. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it's none of your concern, really. So that's that. I will see you guys next week on week 220 when we dive into the next conversation. Until then, stay solitary.